Welcome to Geotopia for you, your one-stop destination for all things geography. In this video, we are going to discuss about plate tectonics, which is a very interesting and important theory in the world of geography. So without any further ado, let's jump into the theory of plate tectonics. The Earth's outer layer, that is lithosphere, is divided into a large number of plates. These plates can be visualized with the help of an orange, whose peel has been divided into several sections. The study of the origin, evolution, nature, deformation, motion, and interaction of one plate with another is called plate tectonics. This theory was developed by numerous scientists in the 1960s. Some notable mentions are number 1, J.T. Wilson, number 2, D. Mackenzie, number 3, R. L. Parker, number 4, W. J. Morgan, number 5, Xavier Lepichon, number 6, B. Isaacs, and number 7, L. R. Sykes. Now, lithospheric plates can be of two types. Number 1, continental plate, and number 2, oceanic plate. Distribution of lithospheric plates. The major plates of the world are Pacific plate, African plate, Eurasian plate, Indian plate, North American plate, South American plate, and Antarctic plate. Some of the minor plates of the world are Arabian plate, Nazca plate, Philippine plate, Juan de Fuca plate, Caribbean plate, Cocos plate, and Scotia plate. In this picture, you can notice that all of the world's major and minor plates have been depicted with different colors. Some of the most important and major plates have been highlighted using the black box. All tectonic activities like seismic events, volcanicity, orogeny, folding, faulting, etc. occur along the plate margins. Margins are the marginal part of the plate. They are different from plate boundary, which is the surface trace of zone of motion between two plates. In this picture, you can see how a plate boundary looks like. Plate boundaries can be of three types: convergent, divergent, or transform. Let's understand each of them in details. Convergent plate boundary. When two plates move towards each other, that is, collide with one another, the type of plate boundary formed is called convergent plate boundary. Here in this picture, we can see two plates moving towards each other, that is, colliding with each other. This is a convergent plate boundary. Features. Convergent plate boundaries are also called destructive or consuming plate boundary. They are characterized by occurrence of deep foci earthquakes, occurrence of explosive type of volcanic eruption, and formation of folded mountains, island arcs, and trenches. Types. Convergence can be between two oceanic plates, two continental plates, or one continental and one oceanic plate. Ocean-ocean collision. When two oceanic plates collide with one another, the relatively heavier oceanic plate is thrust downward underneath the lighter plate into the mantle. The heavier plate, upon entering the mantle, is destroyed. Convergent plate boundary is therefore also called destructive plate boundary. The zone where the plate enters the mantle is called the subduction zone. Example. Here in this picture, you can notice the Philippine plate and the Pacific plate colliding with each other to form the Mariana Trench. Continent-continent collision. When two continental plates collide with each other, no subduction occurs. Instead, the two plates collide to form a fold mountain. The best example of continent-continent collision is the collision between Indian plate and Eurasian plate. This collision led to the formation of the Himalayan mountains. Example. In this picture, you can notice the presence of the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate, which are colliding with one another to form the Himalayan mountains, which is depicted by the blue lines in this picture. Ocean-continent collision. When an oceanic and a continental plate collide with each other, the oceanic plate, being heavier, is subducted underneath the continental plate, which is relatively lighter. One of the best examples of ocean-continent collision is the collision between Nazca Plate and South American Plate. This collision led to the formation of the Andes Mountains. Example. In this picture, you can notice the Nazca Plate and the South American Plate are colliding with one another to form the Andes Fold Mountains. Landforms produced by convergent plate boundary. Oceanic trench. At some coasts, continental shelf drops steeply into trenches, forming the deepest parts of the ocean. They are formed by subduction of oceanic plates beneath oceanic or continental plates. Some examples of oceanic trenches include the Mariana Trench, Aleutian Trench, Java Trench, and Japan Trench. Island arc. Island arcs are chains of volcanic islands. They run parallel to trenches and mountain chains. They are formed by subduction of oceanic plates beneath oceanic or continental plates. As one plate is subducted beneath the other, it melts. This melted portion rises upwards and piles on the adjoining plate, forming island arcs. Each island arc has two parallel arcs located 50 to 100 kilometers apart. In this picture, you can notice the formation of island arcs. Some examples of island arcs include Japan, Philippines, and the Aleutian Islands. Fold mountains. Fold mountains are formed due to convergence of two oceanic plates or one continental and one oceanic plate. Some examples of fold mountains include the Himalayas, the Andes, the Rockies, and the Alps. Some other landforms produced at a convergent plate boundary are filch, ophiolite, melange, and subducted volcano. Divergent plate boundary. When two plates move apart from each other, that is, diverge along a line, the type of plate boundary formed is called divergent plate boundary. Here in this picture, we can see two plates moving apart from one another, that is, diverging. This is a divergent plate boundary. Features. Divergent plate boundaries are also called constructive or accreting plate boundary. They are characterized by volcanic activity of fissure flow of basaltic lava, creation of new oceanic crust, formation of submarine mountain ridges and rises, creation of transform faults, and occurrence of shallow focus earthquakes. Drifting of oceanic plates also takes place at the divergent plate boundaries. Types. Divergence can be between two oceanic plates or two continental plates. Ocean-ocean divergent. When two oceanic plates diverge from each other, that is, move in opposite directions from each other, the type of divergence is called ocean-ocean divergence. There is a continuous upwelling of molten magma from the mantle. New oceanic crust is continuously being formed at the zone of divergence. A mid-oceanic ridge is formed, which is a seafloor mountain system which rises above the abyssal floor. Example. In this picture, you can notice the S-shaped feature, which is the mid-Atlantic ridge. It is located in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Actually, what happens is that the plates on either side of the mid-Atlantic ridge are diverging away from each other. As a result, the mid-Atlantic ridge has been formed in the center of the Atlantic Ocean. Continent-continent divergence. When two continental plates diverge from each other, that is, move in opposite directions from each other, the type of divergence is called continent-continent divergence. There occurs a rifting of landmasses and formation of rift valleys. The best example of this type of boundary is the East African Rift Valley, where the eastern part of the African landmass is breaking away slowly. Example. In this picture, you can notice the formation of the East African Rift Valley, which runs from Ethiopia in the north to Mozambique in the south. Landforms produced by divergent plate boundary. Mid-oceanic ridge. Mid-oceanic ridges are topographically high regions that occurs in the middle of the world's oceans. They are regions where new oceanic crust is continuously being created. The new oceanic crusts diverge away from each other. Some examples of mid-oceanic ridges includes the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, Carlsberg Ridge, Pacific Antarctic Ridge, and the East Pacific Rise. Rift Valley. Rift valleys are formed due to pulling apart of the lithosphere by extensional forces. It is a linear-shaped lowland between several highlands created by the action of a geological rift. Some examples of rift valleys include the East African Rift Valley, the Baikal Rift Zone, the West Antarctic Rift System, and the Rio Grande Rift. Transform plate boundary. When two plates slip or slide past each other along transform faults, the type of plate boundary created is called transform plate boundary. Here in this picture, we can see two plates sliding past one another. This is a transform plate boundary. Features. Transform plate boundaries are also called conservative or shear plate boundary or parallel fault plate boundary. They are characterized by seismic events, no volcanic activity, formation of region valley, and creation of a fracture zone. Transform plate boundaries are also called conservative because there is neither creation nor destruction of crustal material. The significant tectonic expression of such situation is the creation of transform faults. Landforms produced by transform plate boundary. Transform faults. A transform fault is a fault along a plate boundary where the motion is predominantly horizontal. They are called transform because motion between plates is transformed at the ends of the active parts of the fault. Some examples of transform faults include the San Andreas fault, the Cane fracture, the Northern Anatolian fault, and the Queen Charlotte fault. This is it for this video. Hope you found this video very informative. Tell us in the comment section what video you want to watch next. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked our content, then please like our videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel.